What's hiding underneath things can be scary. Underwater, under your bed, especially what's under your carpet. Except when you get new carpet from Carpet One Floor and Home. After tearing up your old carpet, they'll vacuum and apply Health Annex antimicrobial to your subfloor, disinfecting and killing mold, mildew, and any remaining general awfulness. Carpet One Floor and Home goes the extra mile to protect you, your family, and your home. Carpet One Floor and Home in Columbia, making your home beautiful, guaranteed.
Good morning. Welcome to Radio Friends on Tuesday, February the 2nd. My friend Gary Wunder sitting across the studio from me right now. Gary is with the National Federation of the Blind. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Yes. You've got an interesting topic today. Blind people driving cars.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, scary, right?
Well, on the surface, it kind of put me back. But,
yeah.
So how is this going to work, or is it going to work?
Well, I think that the question we don't really know yet, but we started a research project 10 years ago called the Blind Driver Challenge. And what we wanted to see if we could do was design a car that would let us get all the information that a person gets from their eyes and their ears to drive and simulate that through various mechanisms. So, how fast do you need to go? Well, we put little vibrating motors inside this car that would vibrate on the person's back of his legs. When do you need to slow down? Well, we put sensors in the back seat, not the back seat, but the part that you sit in, lean back on. Mm-hmm. So vibrating sensors. When do you need to go right and left? We put vibrating gloves on this guy. And his name is Mark Riccobono. He's currently the president of the National Federation of the Blind. And we went to the Daytona Speedway to see that if he could drive and if he could do so in front of an audience. And one of the things that was really cool was that before the actual challenge event took place, we had several parking lots that we were testing the vehicle in. And he pulled up and he offered some of us a ride. And it was the first time that blind people got to ride with another blind person as a driver.
Driving.
Yeah.
Now, wait, let me stop you here a minute now. This is not, the car itself is not designed to drive itself, correct?
That's right.
So this is just, what you're saying is this is just a regular car that is equipped with sensors to let the person who's driving know what's ahead, what's behind, what's to the side, and where they're going.
Exactly.
But how does it read street signs to know where you are?
Well, we can usually do that through GPS and some kind of cameraing to say the name of the street. So that ends up being fairly easy. The question is, how do you maintain distance and how do you go the right speed and how do you take into account the things that you wouldn't expect to happen, like somebody running out in front of you? So we've not done any of this with real street testing. What we're finding more and more is that maybe we're not on the right path, because the right path seems to be not to try to get more people able to drive, but to try to get less people able to drive using autonomous vehicles. And there's been this tremendous convergence of people in the auto industry, people in the insurance industry, people in the law enforcement industry coming and saying, many of our traffic accidents are people-induced. 90 to 95% of them, almost no traffic accidents happen as a result of vehicle malfunction. So we've started to put energy into making sure that if autonomous vehicles actually materialize as
self-driving vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had to use that bigger word there. My father would tell me, why use a bigger word if you can use smaller ones? Yeah, self-driving vehicles, if they're going to become a reality, we've got to make sure that blind people can use them. So, well, what might be the problem? Well, it'd be great if a car could drive itself, but it wouldn't be so great if you had to get in and punch a place on a touch screen that wasn't identifiable to a blind person.
Right. So then that would be with Braille, right?
Yeah, you would do some of that with Braille. You would do some of that with audio. Maybe you could say to the car, "Car, engage. My code is 617. 617 verified. What is your destination?" But, we have to work all of that stuff out to make sure that it'll really happen.
But what you're saying makes perfect sense to me, because years ago, who would have thought that you could talk to a handheld device and ask for directions from point A to point B, and it pops up on a screen and an automated voice tells you when to turn, where to go, and how long it's going to take to get there?
Absolutely. And I think there are a lot of good things. There are a lot of problems to work out with automated vehicles. You got to get the legislation. You got to make sure that the technology is really up to it. But the truth is that we're not really very good drivers because there are so many things that can distract us when we drive. Wanting to look into the back seat to see which child is causing the problem, being distracted by a telephone. And it's amazing. We make it so that you can talk on the phone hands-free, but most people still look at the screen to decide whether or not to take the call.
Right.
And the car, you can usually feel the car swerve. And a lot of people believe that you shouldn't text while driving, but they don't think that applies to them. So really, the more we can get driving out of the hands of people and into a dedicated device whose only job is to drive, probably the better off we all are safety-wise.
Yeah. And how do you feel personally about being able to achieve that independence of getting in a vehicle yourself, not having to depend on someone to drive you down here to record this segment, but if you could just do it yourself? That has to give you more of a feeling of independence.
It does. It feels really good. And there were certain things that I was deprived of coming up with. When I turned 16, it didn't mean anything to me because there was no driver's test, no driver's license to get, no car, new or used, that anybody was going to give me. Now, I don't want this to dehumanize. Sometimes the people that I hire to drive me here end up becoming good friends that I would never have met before.
Right.
Almost irreplaceable, the conversations that we have. So I don't want to take the humanity out of this. But yes, I would like to be able to go out and either find a car in my driveway that I can drive or have enough cars driving around who will come and pick me up that maybe I don't even need to own my own car. Maybe not everybody in the world needs to worry about a parking place right outside their door. This revolution is really more significant than just blind people being able to drive. It is, how will Paul Pepper get around in 10 years?
You know what? We're out of time, Gary, but it's always a pleasure and interesting to chat with you. And our discussion today, I think, was really eye-opening to me. I appreciate the information that you have.
I love the opportunity to talk with a good host.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. If people want more information, how can they find out?
Call 874-1774 or go to our website.
All right. Thank you, Gary, and have yourself a nice day. Bye-bye.